Hey guys, this is your girl Nik, and before I bring you episode 4 of Bariatric Foodie Live, I just wanted to talk to you for a moment, just me and you. Now, I'm so excited about Bariatric Foodie Live. I'm excited at the opportunity to talk to you guys every week, to get your feedback, to discuss things that only post-ops really understand, and to bring you things like product reviews and giveaways. In so many ways, Bariatric Foodie Live is my baby right now. And just like any other baby, it has to develop and grow and mature. When we started Bariatric Foodie Live just 4 short weeks ago, we sort of jumped in head first. We decided to just take what technology we have, press the record button, and start talking to you guys instead of waiting to have all of the proper camera set up and light set up and equipment set up. Now, that's a great idea to jump in head first if you're trying to get past the fear of doing something, but as you guys have probably noticed, it doesn't always make for the best video and audio quality. We understand that Bariatric Foodie at this point, Bariatric Foodie Live at this point is not exactly the way we want it to be. However, we are working on it so hard. So I just wanted to take a moment to say I apologize for the video and the audio issues. I thank you for hanging in there with Shannon and I look forward to bringing you more great episodes. And now, without further ado, here is episode 4 of Bariatric Foodie Live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bariatric Foodie Live. I am Nikki, and this is
Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. I wanted to start off by just saying, how you doing, Shannon?
I'm okay. Tired. A little tired.
How's the jaw situation coming along? I know last week we spoke and you were having some jaw troubles.
Yes, I saw my dentist yesterday. They're making me a bite guard.
You went in and out a little bit there, but I'm going to interpret that to say that you're on the mend, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Basically, I wanted to tell you guys, for those of you who don't know me or have not ever experienced me before, I am very brutally honest about my life. And so one of the things I want to point out today is that I have on like this bandana here. The bandana is code for Nikki really needs to go to the wig shop. So that's what that's code for. I wear a wig because I have alopecia totalis. So if you have any questions about alopecia, it's not a result of weight loss surgery. I've had alopecia for like 20 years. I've had weight loss surgery for 9 years. So I don't have any hair of my own. And so I wear a wig, and the wig is designed to stay on for 4 weeks. It has now been on for 5. So my wig is kind of a hot mess. So whenever you see me with the bandana is code for Nikki needs to go to the wig shop. I'm kind of impersonating Shannon. If you guys saw the little cartoon image that we have for Bariatric Foodie Live, I'm impersonating Shannon because I have the green shirt on today. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, welcome to Bariatric Foodie Live, sponsored by Bariatric Pal. We have to give a shout out at all times and every show to bariatricpal.com, which is your friend in bariatrics. They have every single weight loss surgery product known to man on their website, and they're always freaking having a sale. If you go to store.bariatricpal.com, they're always having a sale. They're always having a discount. You will be able to get all of the products that you love for probably less than you would pay, even if you walked into a store. So go there, check out the products that they have. We're going to have a product review, not next week, but the week after, of some great products that'll help you out in the summertime from Bariatric Pal. Okay, moving right along. So the first topic that we have to talk about tonight, Shannon, I think I told you about this because I was ranting and raving about it just a little bit because it just burns my soul every single year, Shannon, is this People magazine weight loss issue where they say, and this is actually, it's kind of a small picture, but it's actually a commemorative issue. I think it's a compilation of a lot of their different weight loss stories put together. Before I start my little rant and rave about this, I do want to point out that People magazine has been getting better with this. They have been getting better with this. Last year on their weight loss issue, they didn't have what's at issue is the fact that they put the phrases no surgery exclamation point, no gimmicks, exclamation point, on their weight loss issue. And that has always burned me up a little bit. But last year they didn't do it. But then this year they come out with some sort of commemorative issue where the no surgery, the no gimmicks is back. Now, I thought that they were doing better because they actually highlighted a person who had bariatric surgery in their magazine and they made a feature out of it. However, they didn't integrate that person into their overall weight loss issue. And that makes me a little bit mad because I feel like it's a little bit stigmatizing and it's a little bit ostracizing. What do you think about the no surgery, no gimmicks?
I definitely think that's stigmatizing. It puts a bad taste in my mouth. It's not fair.
So yeah, I promised I wasn't going to talk about going in and out, but I feel like you should know just in case that we didn't hear what you just said. But that's gonna. I don't want to frustrate you, Shannon. I feel like I get on your nerves every time I say that. She's like, "Shut up." But yeah, I definitely think it's stigmatizing. So I decided to organize my thoughts and tell you guys exactly what I find objectionable about this particular language. I got a little gripe list here that People Magazine can just stop using this language. I don't care if it's a commemorative issue. I don't care if it's their annual issue. Just stop using that language. The first reason why it sort of bugs me, and you guys should know, this is like a massive leap of maturity for me to be able to actually articulate this. I used to just get mad about crap and didn't know why I was mad. Reason number one is that excluding people who have had weight loss surgery segregates surgery from other methods of losing weight. That's wrong, because if we're saying that health is the most important thing, people should use whatever intervention works the best for them. It does not have to be weight loss surgery. For some people, they do medical weight loss. For some people, they do simply modify and do diet and exercise behavior modification, all sorts of things. Some people do hypnosis. I don't know what all people do for different methods of weight loss. However, they're all valid. I'm not saying everybody should get surgery, but what I am saying is excluding surgery out of the equation makes it seem like a less favorable approach, a less legit approach to losing weight. So that, which leads me to my second point, which is that it not so subtly promotes the idea that losing weight with surgery is quote unquote easier. It's not easier, and you guys know it's not easier. We have to still watch what we eat. We have to watch how much we eat, especially as time goes on and on and on. We have to be very, very careful about our intake, about our exercise. We have to run vitamin regimens. We have to get the water. And the difference between us and somebody who hasn't had surgery is that there can be very severe consequences to us not following the rules in terms of our total health. If a person who hasn't had surgery doesn't take vitamins, 9 times out of 10, they may be vitamin deficient, but it's not going to get as bad as somebody who has had a malabsorptive procedure and doesn't take their vitamins long term. So these are things that we have to do. We have to keep working at it. And I know that some of you who are years and years out have found you have to keep working at it. You have to keep going at it year after year. So separating it out and promoting the idea that it's so much harder to lose it with diet and exercise alone is a little bit of a dangerous thought. I don't like the idea that, there's some sort of virtue, which is actually, I think my next point is that it promotes the idea not so subtly that losing weight without surgery is more virtuous. To me, I always make this analogy that if you're putting together a piece of furniture, is it less virtuous to use a hammer? A hammer is a tool that you use to put things together. So if you're using a tool that makes you more effective at the task that you're trying to do, that doesn't make you lazy. That doesn't mean you're taking the easy way out. It means that you're using an effective and proven tool to get toward your objective. And then lastly is I have a problem. I know they separate out the no surgery and the no gimmicks, but those two phrases together just bug me a little bit because surgery is an evidence-based treatment. It is not a gimmick. It's not a sleight of the hand. It's not a trick. It's something where it has been studied and studied and perfected and studied and perfected and studied over some decades now So it's not a gimmick. It's far from a gimmick. Weight loss surgery is an evidence-based treatment, and it is very, very wrong to put it in the same category or to segregate it out with gimmicks. This is why it's so important, though, that organizations like the Obesity Action Coalition actually exist. I am a proud member of the Obesity Action Coalition. I am on the board of the Obesity Action Coalition, and they advocate against stigma and weight bias. Until we start looking at obesity as a true public health problem, not a problem of people who are bigger, but a true public health issue, a true public health problem, it's not going to reduce. It's not just what we are picking up and putting into our mouths, it's how that food is made, how it came to be on the place in the store shelf that it is, where we caught view of it. What foods we are aware exist versus the ones we aren't aware that exist, which has everything to do with marketing. There are a lot of things that are contributing to this obesity epidemic, and it should not just simply be on our shoulders. Yes, we should do our part. We should do our part by eating healthfully. We should do our part by exercising. However, there is a whole bunch of players in this whole obesity epidemic, and stigma is placed squarely on our shoulders, and that's wrong. So that, my dear foodies, is why that People magazine language is wrong. It's damaging. I hope that they stop using that wording for good eventually. That no matter how you lose weight, it's hard. I wanted to sort of wrap that up and say, an appeal to People magazine. People magazine, stop that. We buy your magazines too, and we want to feel included, and we want to feel respected, and that ain't doing it. So anyway, the next thing we were going to talk about, we are going to talk about next is what products do you really love? Let me take this product off of here. What products do you really love, Bariatric Foodie? And the reason why I thought it was important to do this segment is because of the fact that I do a lot of product reviews, and we're going to do a lot of product reviews on this live show. And it can be hard sometimes to decipher what it is that we actually use on a day-to-day basis versus what we actually, promote via product reviews. Don't take this to mean that, products that I use, I embellish. I do not. If I don't like something, I say I don't like it. I tell you why I don't like it. We don't, sit up here and pump up people just because they've asked us to review their product. However, I thought it might be fun for each of us to highlight something that we actually use in actual life. So I'm going to let Shannon go first because hers is kind of a weight loss surgery hack sort of thing. So I want you to go first, Shannon, and show us what is a product that you actually use and love.
So this is a bead sorter from Michael's, a craft store. And I use this every single day because it holds my vitamins. I don't know if you can see, but in there
we can see vitamins. Hold up the front of it again. Yeah. So wait a minute. How many slots are in there?
4x4. There's 16.
Oh, good Lord. So how many days does that cover?
It covers like 16 days.
Oh, okay. So that's your whole day worth of vitamins in that thing. So you do your vitamins up like maybe twice a month and you're good to go?
Yep. I was so frustrated because I couldn't get a pill sorter that would hold all of my chewables. So I got the bead sorter because it's bigger.
That makes sense. Now, how much did that cost? You said you got it from Michael's, right?
$12.99-ish.
Okay. So how many years have you had it?
Maybe 2 years.
But do you truly do the 2 months, 2 times a month, and you just use it until it's empty, or do you refill stuff as you go along?
Nope. I put them in, and then I let it empty out, and then I put it in again. And it helps me stay accountable because if I miss a day or I miss a dose of something, it's still in there, and it kind of keeps me honest about whether or not I've been taking my vitamins the way I should.
That's actually, yeah, and I was so excited when you told me that, because when we were talking over what we were gonna show, Shannon was like, well, it's not really a weight loss surgery thing, but it's something that I can't live without. When she told me, I was like, that is like totally relevant. It totally counts, because like, how many people need a good solution? And to me, I'm just monumentally bad at organizing vitamins. And it seems like the more I organize, the less I want to take my vitamins. It's just a horrible thing. It's a horrible cycle. But I think it's actually pretty genius. And anything that helps you sort of plan ahead, because to me, I think that's like the key to actually being consistent with the things that you're supposed to do, is the more you can plan ahead, because everybody's busy. Everybody has a million things to do. Shannon has these two adorable little boys. And so, you know, if I was busy with those adorable little boys and I hadn't planned ahead, I could see myself sort of slipping into a pattern of not necessarily taking. And she uses this vitamin sorter. It reduces the amount of time that she has to spend doing the vitamin sorter. Okay, so I'm going to show mine, which admittedly, I'm going to admit it probably looks kind of lame in comparison to Shannon's hack. Shannon is kicking my butt with these sort of product demo and recipe demo sort of things. It's okay. I'm very self-assured in myself, okay? I have a healthy sense of self-esteem, folks. So I can handle that. Anyway, where is mine? Let me just slide over like this. Okay, so this is a relatively new product, but the product suite that this comes from is something that I have always kept in my own personal pantry. Mine is Click. Oh my God. Can I just tell you guys my Click origin story for a second? My Click origin story. Bariatric Foodie used to be written by myself and a lady by the name of Jennifer. And Jennifer was actually the person who introduced me to Click for the very first time. She sent me some, and I was only a couple months post-op, so I tried it. This was before they had the decaf. They have the decaf now, I think in vanilla latte. I'm not sure if they have it in mocha. I don't order the decaf. I'll be 100% honest with you on that one. So this was actually my first caffeine after surgery. I've been cleared to have a little bit of caffeine. My bariatric office actually clears us to have a certain amount of caffeine after surgery. So I was okay. I was in compliance with my program. I tried this, and let me just tell y'all, if you are a newbie and you haven't had caffeine before, you're going to need to like dip your toe. Like if your surgical practice says you can have some again, dip your toe back in very slowly into the caffeine pool, because I was like the freaking Energizer bunny with the caffeine. But this stuff is so good. If you look on Bariatric Foodie, there's like 1,000,002 recipes, because I learned how to make protein frappuccinos with this stuff. I learned how to make desserts with this stuff. I make a lot of different things with Click. For those of you who don't know what Click is, it is an espresso protein. It comes in 3 different flavors. It comes in mocha, vanilla latte, and caramel. This is the Click Active. This is actually formulated more toward people who are active. It has more protein per serving. It's a few more calories per serving than regular Click. And for us, it's a slow releasing protein, which is good for, you know, athletes who haven't had weight loss surgery. For us, for people who have had malabsorptive systems, it's not necessarily a great help for it to be slow releasing. But how I use Click typically, that I usually use half a serving of Click with a full serving of whey isolate protein. It tends to make what I call a mega shake. A mega shake is a shake that usually has like 40 plus grams of protein. And this is usually where people come in and say, well, you can only absorb 30 grams of protein at a time, which we're not going to go into why that's not universally true, but it's not universally true. However, in my opinion, it stands to reason that if I have a malabsorptive digestive system that doesn't absorb all of the protein that I eat, if I drink a 40 gram protein shake, it's not going to kill me. So I love Click. Oh, wait a minute. Is it halfway off the camera? I love Click. I buy Click Click is one of my favorite coffee protein. So that is a product that I use. Anyway, moving right along. So last week we were talking about Gabby Sidibe and how she doesn't want you to compliment her on her weight loss, which we totally respect you, Gabby. It's great. But it got me to thinking about other weight loss surgery celebrities, because I was thinking it would be so cool if Gabby Sidibe was like a part of the Foodie Nation and she was like up in here talking about recipes and protein shakes with us. I don't think we have any famous people in the Foodie Nation per se. But then it got me to thinking about weight loss surgery celebrities. So Shannon and I picked out some weight loss surgery celebrities that we would love to become a part of the Foodie Nation. My first pick, Shannon, is Sharon Osbourne. And a lot of you may not know that Sharon Osbourne is a weight loss surgery patient. She had weight loss surgery, I believe, before I did, but she had lap band surgery. And there's a before and after of her. She is probably what most of us would have considered a quote unquote lightweight, which is that she wasn't morbidly obese, but she was probably her BMI looked like maybe she was in the obese category. And I just think she would be an awesome member of the Foodie Nation because of the fact that she is no holds barred. I imagine she's that kind of friend where if somebody fat shames or food shames you, she's going to go all in. Half of what she says is going to have to be bleeped. If we invited her on to Bariatric Foodie Live, that would just be it. It would just be like, look, with Sharon, you can't be cussing on Bariatric Foodie Live. Mm-hmm. But, go in on People Magazine segment would have been so lit if Sharon Osbourne was a part of the Foodie Nation. Okay, so we're going to go in for Shannon's first pick. John Popper. Actually, this is not Shannon's first pick. I lost Shannon's first pick somewhere. But okay. Where'd it go, Shannon? Where'd it go? Okay. So let's just scroll down to John Popper and pretend that he was number 4, but he was actually number 2.
I just like his personality, so that's why I picked John Popper.
John Popper had gastric bypass surgery. I did not give people's weight loss totals, folks. I wasn't trying to be that much up in their business. I thought that was going a little bit too far into Creepsterville. Let's go to my next pick, which is Anne Rice. This one kind of blew my mind because when I was researching people who had weight loss surgery, I didn't even know. First of all, if you're not familiar with Anne Rice's books, I don't know where you've been, but she's Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Lestat, Queen of the Damned. All of these books got turned into these great vampire movies is Anne Rice. And I did not know that Anne Rice was a post-op. Can you imagine? You know how I'm always saying that the story we tell ourselves is important? Could you imagine how Anne Rice would reframe our stories for us? Besides the fact that she just seems like a really cool person to sit down and go to coffee with and tell all your little problems and make sure that you are okay with life. I just feel like I would love for Anne Rice to be a part of the Foodie Nation. So let's go to, now we're going to pretend that your number 4 was actually is actually number 2.
So this is Deborah Voigt, or Debbie. Debbie Voigt is an opera singer. She's a very famous soprano. And she was actually by top opera houses because she couldn't fit into the costumes. And she then had trouble with an audition. The conductor thought that her voice was lovely, but he wanted her to lose weight before he would agree to having her take on this role to sing an opera on CD. She was fired from them, and they told her that if she lost weight, she could have the part, but it was for a CD recording. So that, on top of just having a hard time breathing, going up steps, she decided to have gastric bypass surgery. She's another big proponent of talking about transfer addictions. She's just really cool.
I think that would be really cool, especially for somebody. I always talk about transfer addiction, and it's one of those things that not everybody, here's one point I want to make, a little bit of a sidebar. Not every weight loss surgery patient is a food addict, and not every weight loss surgery patient has addictive personalities. For those of us who do, it is sort of a different experience, and it's not saying, my problems are bigger than your problems. It's a different kind of problem. But to have more advocates talking about what it's like to have addiction in your life, and to have it transfer from being food and eating to being something else is important. I think that's a very important voice to speak about. I speak about my own experience a lot, but I think she would be very cool. My number one pick, E.J. Johnson. And E.J. Johnson is the son of Magic Johnson. If you are a reality TV show addict like I am, you have seen him on Rich Kids of Beverly Hills. Decided to undergo vertical sleeve gastrectomy surgery. Lost a tremendous amount of weight. It was like when you saw him in process of losing weight, but then it was like, boom, one day he was like the image on the right. The reason why I think E.J. Johnson would be a really, really cool addition to the Foodie Nation is because I know that, I am not always on point with my fashion sense. E.J. does, like his Instagram, he will tell you what is trending, what is not, what looks good, what looks bad. He knows both spectrums of being smaller and being bigger, and going from being bigger to being smaller. I feel like he could really help all of us to have better style. So if he could help me have better style. E.J. Johnson, if you see this, I love you, man. Okay? All right. So that wraps up our list of weight loss surgery celebrities that we would like to see inside the Foodie Nation. It's time for Q&A. Hopefully Q&A will go okay, whereas my computer won't blow up. However, if you have any Q or any A, as you're continuing to type breakfast into the chat box and getting messages, if you have any questions about life after weight loss surgery, wait a minute, life after weight loss surgery, it just said our broadcast was interrupted temporarily. Life after weight loss surgery, or anything else. I know I said life after weight loss surgery like 15 times. Cooking, or anything else. Did you guys check out, did anybody happen to check out Zoodle Education Week on Instagram? I would love to know that and know if you got that. That is still on the Instagram feed. If you look up Bariatric Foodie on Instagram, we are actually, it's called Bariatric Foodie Nation on Instagram because somebody got my name before I got my name. I'm working on it. But it will be the little circle in the heart sort of profile. And there is a whole week's worth of tutorials on making zucchini noodles, aka zoodles, which I also have a recipe book for, but that is not our shameless plug for today. Our shameless plug for today is the Bariatric Foodie Breakfast book, which you can get more information about by typing breakfast into the chat box. So, we did Zoodle Appreciation Week. I'm really, Shannon, I don't know if you do like the Facebook stories or the Instagram stories, but it took me a minute to catch on to this whole concept of stories. My kids do like Snapchat and things like that, but it took me a minute to grasp this whole idea of doing stories. But I'm really into that. So I've been doing that on Instagram, and it has been very, very, very fun. Just like highlighting my day. So on Instagram, I tend to sort of showcase my eating day on my Instagram stories, as opposed to posting it on my Instagram profile, because I don't want to put 8 million things on the Instagram profile. But that is to say, check that out. I am way into the stories now. You get sort of what does Nikki really eat, and how much of it does she eat, and what new products do I pass. I snap pictures of things that I think look interesting in the supermarket. Aranda wants to know, what kind of protein bars do I like? That has changed over the years. And Shannon, I'll let you answer, but I'll answer first. And for a long time, I used to rock with the Quest bars. and would nuke them for 10 to 12 seconds and all of that good stuff. I still like Quest bars, and Quest bars now come in like every flavor known to man. So it's like one of those things where you have Rocky Road, you have like apple pie, you have all of these different flavors. So I still like Quest bars, but they're not my favorite. My favorite is actually Power Crunch bars, which are a little bit lower in protein than most protein bars, but it's like one of those situations where it's just so yummy. It just reminds you of a wafer cookie, and you're able to it just reminds you of a wafer cookie, and it just tastes really good. And it comes in, I think, chocolate mint, peanut butter, vanilla, just all of these different things, and it's really light and crisp. I love Power Crunch bars. So, Shannon, what is your favorite protein bar? Again, like I said, hoping that the sound stays with us. Dang it didn't work this time, Shannon.
Power Crunch bars, the same as you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot in common, Shannon. This must be why we work well together, because yeah. So let's see. Mary said we froze at Q&A and never came back. We did actually come back, Mary, because I'm watching the feed on the Facebook page, but the internet is a strange and crazy place. So anyway, does anybody have any other questions? I'm hoping that Mary doesn't have a question oh, by the way, Marianne, she said Power Crunch bars, just like me, just in case you missed it. It was Power Crunch bars. Gloria says, what are your thoughts on vitamins versus vitamin patches? I use Patch MD, calcium and iron. My labs are excellent, and iron is one supplement I always used to be low on before the patches. I'm not a dietitian or a bariatric surgeon, so I'm not qualified to give you official capacity advice on vitamin patches. I will say that first and foremost. I am just a post-op. What I do know about vitamin patches is that the ASMBS, the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery, does not yet recommend vitamin patches for post-ops. I don't know if they will in the future. Currently, they do not. And so me being a Roux-en-Y patient, which is a malabsorptive surgery, I tend to track pretty closely for myself to the ASMBS recommendations because of the fact that my body just does not absorb micronutrients the way it should, because of the fact that I've had surgery. So they are not yet recommended by the ASMBS. You will find doctors all over the spectrum and how or whether they recommend them. I would say that you should speak to your bariatric surgeon or your dietitian, and if they're comfortable with you doing the patch, then that trumps anything that I could say. I would not use the patch personally because it's not yet recommended by the ASMBS, but that's not demonizing them. That's not saying it's bad. That's just saying that I track pretty closely to the ASMBS recommendations in my intake. The one thing I will say, though, is with labs, it's a tricky thing because when somebody is taking a vitamin that is sort of outside the norm or isn't the exact recommendation, they say that their labs are good. Labs are a tricky thing in that some things can take a while to present as a deficiency. And then some things can be just that your body is naturally inclined not to be deficient in some things. I am constantly running low on vitamin D, whereas I know people who are fine with vitamin D. My B12 goes up and down, and other people's B12 stays high. So it's like one of those things where you have to sort of track it over. And that's, again, not saying anything bad about the patches. I don't know that much about them because I don't use them. However, your labs, if you're tracking them over time, it's just really important to keep a close and sharp eye on that, especially if you're doing something that hasn't, that there aren't like a whole bunch of rock solid long-term studies on. I don't think there are on the patch, but I could be wrong. So if I am wrong, discount everything I said. But at the end of the day, that's between you and your surgeon. I personally use chewable vitamins, and I usually tend to use Celebrate vitamins for the most part. And that's what I use. So I can only speak on what I use. And I can tell you that my surgeon, because they're not recommended yet by the ASMBS, will not, give me full clearance to use the patch. And so I listen to my bariatric surgeon, you listen to yours. Let's see. Let's see. If you have used the fruit Centrac nectar protein, how do you keep it from getting super foamy? I love your method for creamy shakes, but in the heat, I prefer something thinner. The foam is actually the protein, I'm afraid. So when you mix up a protein shake, and we should do like a tutorial on protein shakes one of these days when the internet loves us again. But the foamy part, one might say skim it off the top, but the problem with that is that is protein. That's not to say that there's no protein in your drink, but that is protein. That foamy stuff, when it reacts with air, that's the protein. Usually what I do, I have done the Fruity Centrac shakes. Usually I let it settle, or I will just stir it back into the drink. And sometimes it takes a good few stirs before you stir it back into the drink. But if you're skimming it off the top and throwing it away, you are actually throwing away protein, which is kind of counterproductive to what you want to do. The other option, which seems sort of overly simplistic, is to put it in a container where you can't see it and put the ice in there and drink like a sports bottle, like an opaque sports bottle. So you can't see the foam. You're getting the goodness of the drink. Eventually the foam is going to break down and sort of quote unquote melt back into the water, and you won't even know the difference because you never saw it happen. So that's my big piece of advice there. Let's see, what did Gloria say? I'm looking at my computer because it's easier to see comments on the computer. Thanks for the input. Patches are new and controversial yet. Yeah, and that's why I don't want to pass judgment on them, because it could very well be that next year they come out with recommendations where they say patches are absolutely fine, and then I'd have to go back and rebuke everything that I said. You also get lots of chunks of protein, Colleen. You shouldn't be getting chunks of protein. Protein should break down pretty well. What I usually tell people when they're mixing a protein shake is that if they're getting chunks of protein, make sure that the protein is very, very powdery. Why is my hand not showing up? Very, very powdery when you mix it. And even if you have to like sort of go in there with a fork and just sort of whisk it a little bit, make sure that it is a fine powder. And then usually when you add water, it should not chunk up, even if you're using a shaker bottle. That's why I personally am a big fan of blender protein shakes, because it usually takes care of all of that. But then with the blender, you're going to get air and you're going to get foam. So it's sort of a catch-22. But that could also be, I don't know if it's consistently across several orders of protein, but if it is across several orders of protein, it might be the protein powder. If it is from one particular tub, I would contact them to see if you got a bad batch of protein. That happens sometimes. Okay, so yeah, you're using a blender bottle, and that could be the reason why, Colleen. Is so it's sort of a catch-22. It's like if you use the blender, you're going to get foam. If you don't use the blender, you might get chunks. But just make sure that you go in to, like, put the powder in the blender bottle, go around a couple of times, whisking it with the fork, and then add your water, and then shake it up and see if that helps a little bit. Pam says she has issues with Centracs having chunks too. I haven't done Centracs in a while because I don't know if you guys have noticed from my postings, but I'm more of a creamy shake type of gal. So that's how I do it. So that is our show for tonight. We are coming back at you next week, and I hope that you join us. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for forgiving us our technical difficulties. We're getting it together slowly but surely. We're getting it together. So good night, guys. Good night, Shannon. Bye.